Welcome back to Alyssa's Movie Takes. Cruella was weird, it was dumb, and it was forgettable. And there's one main reason for it all. First, Cruella was weird. It starts out with a child. It's a backstory, so we'll start in their childhood. What's weird about Cruella is that from birth, essentially, she had a split personality. There were two people operating in one body. Estella, who is, I wouldn't say the nicest person in the world, but she's better than Cruella. And then Cruella is her nemesis, the other person who lives inside of her, who is nasty and temper tantrum prone and gets expelled from school. This is a strange backstory to pick for one of Disney's slimiest villains. Her name is Cruel Devil. I thought picking a split personality for Cruella is an interesting take, but mostly it just feels weird. The second thing that's weird is that early on in the movie, the inciting incident is Dalmatians, no spoilers here, this is early in the show, Dalmatians kill Estella/Cruella's mom, pushes her over a cliff. That is a very strange take. First off, I didn't know Dalmatians were aggressive, and two, we all know this story is tied to 101 Dalmatians, where she kidnaps and tries to make a coat out of Dalmatian puppies. And so they're trying to turn it on their head and say, oh, but it was really because she hates Dalmatians because they killed her mom. As far as Disney plot twists go, that's pretty strange. And then finally, it's weird that they have to go with the idea that, well, hurting people hurt people. I guess it's not weird and that it's not abnormal for Disney, but Cruella is so deliciously evil in the 101 Dalmatians and in The Virgin that Glenn Close made. And in this one, it's just, oh, well, she was hurt, so she hurt people. And everything about it, the way that it's shot, the sub-characters, guess what they feel like to me? Not a Disney movie, but a Disney Channel show. You want to know the difference between a Disney movie, like an old Disney cartoon or one of the ones from the 90s Golden Age, and a Disney Channel show? Disney Channel show actors have to overact. There have been many YouTube videos made about how Disney Channel actors have to overact. That's true for Disney Plus shows too. It's just make a face, smile at the camera, practically wink at the camera. Maybe if you're not totally breaking the fourth wall, but you practically are with every movement that you make. That was true of her boss. That was sort of true of how Emma Thompson played this. That was true of the two sidekicks. It just feels weird when you have the Disney Channel acting going on. Emma Stone didn't really do this, but the other characters made it feel completely flat because they're playing it like a Disney Channel character. That's also leading into why this is dumb. Here we are going to get into some spoilers because you're either probably seen it or you're not going to. And if you go and see it, you're not going to enjoy this less or more because I tell you what happens, because the plot is so strange and weird and dumb. So the plot twist is not original. It's a Luke, I am your father moment is the plot twist that, whoa, look, it turns out that maybe the woman that was pushed off the cliff wasn't her mother after all. Maybe somebody else in the movie is related to her. It's a Luke, I am your father moment, and it just is dumb. So the second thing that's dumb about this movie is that her friends, like Estella, like I said, is not the most nice person in the world. She's a thief. She's good at it. She's smart. She's tactful. She understands how to make a plan. She's like a fox. She's foxy. And she's a great designer. Cruella, also a great designer. But mean, nasty, loner, doesn't like working with people, basically a diva. And her friends, who are in the original 101 Dalmatians, these sniveling henchmen, and in this, they're just kind of Oliver Twist type characters, orphans who steal to make a living. And they beg her to stay as Estella, to not give in to Cruella and let her take over, because Estella's smart. She gets things done, Cruella says that she doesn't, but she gets a job, she moves her way up in the fashion world, she takes care of the henchmen, and in this, she doesn't want to be Estella. She chooses to be Cruella, much to her friends' dismay, and they still stick with her. I just thought, okay, they were begging her to not be Cruella because Cruella was so nasty to them. Cruella didn't care about them at all, and she chose to stay Cruella. And they just kind of went along with it. I said, that's dumb. Why would they even put it in there that they wanted her to stay Estella if she was going to stay Cruella? That's dumb. The third thing that's dumb comes kind of at the final credits. I told you there's a little bit of spoilers here. That it's dumb that Cruella is the one who gifts Roger and Anita, Purdy, and Pongo? That's dumb. It's already dumb because earlier in the movie you find out, oh no, she doesn't kill those Dalmatians that killed her mother. She just makes a fake coat. And Cruella gifting these two dogs to Roger and Anita, who have no part to play in this movie, we'll get to that, is just kind of like, so maybe she doesn't hate dogs after all, and there is no 101 Dalmatians? And I just felt confused at that, and it's dumb and confusing. Point number 3. This is forgettable. I will not remember the plot of this movie. I don't really even know what the plot is. It has something to do with a stolen necklace, and then revenge, and blah-de-blah, and fashion, and all, well, at the end we have version of Cruella who's maybe not a cruel devil, maybe not a sniveling, horrible human being who would make a great villain, but just kind of somebody who has a big personality and is kind of like a superhero, and that everybody wants to take their picture and everybody wants to know who they are, but nobody really does. But doesn't really know what she wants to do in the world except maybe be the queen of fashion. Alright, so I don't really know what the plot of this movie was. So then you have a lot of stereotypes. Oliver Twist types? Yep, got them. Taking two characters from the 101 Dalmatians that were pretty sweet characters, Roger and Anita, and making them completely nothing. Roger and Anita become these one-bit wonders. Oh, look, it's Anita. She takes pictures. Oh, look, it's Roger. He falls down in his klutzy. By the way, those kind of, oh, he does this or she does this is not character development. Those are just character traits. So they're know-nothing characters. Even the henchmen, by taking away their sniveliness and their sort of dorky dumbness, makes it silly too. They're just, oh, I know you. I've seen you in Oliver Twist. Oh, I know you. I've seen you in August Rush. I've seen your character a million times before. But the main reason that I will forget this movie is because they do the Disney sin, which is they blur the lines of good and evil so you don't really know what's good and what's evil anymore. And that means that the villain is boring. If you don't actually have an evil villain, it's not that interesting to me. There are a few movies that get this right, but this is not one of them. It just basically looks like, oh, well, Cruella was misunderstood. And that is Maleficent plotline. That's a few other plot lines. That's basically Frozen. And it's old now. It's way better when you have good characters and bad characters going at it and a fight of good and evil to the death. But when you go off and you start off with, well, we can't really make them a bad guy, and in order to make them an interesting backstory, we have to kind of blur the lines of good and evil, and that way people will really root for them because we want them to root for them. So they take an anti-hero or a villain, well, they take a villain and they try to make an anti-hero story, but it comes off more as a hero story, and that doesn't work because we already know them as a villain. And it just doesn't work for me. And I would say, in general, that it's a sign of sort of dumb art is when you don't have standards. When you don't have good is good and bad is bad. It doesn't make for horrible entertainment necessarily, but most of the time you come out with something confusing and boring. Or in this case, weird, dumb, and forgettable. That's my take on Cruella. What's your take? I don't think it's even family friendly just because it's so dumb. You can let me know what your take is below. Thanks for watching.